This is your station. This is Dott TV. Dott TV. Dott TV. Yeah. Dott TV. Yeah. Dott TV. Yeah. Dott TV.
Dott TV, the heart of the matter.
In the heart of Asaba, where the street tells the stories every single day.
From the corridors of powers to the decisions shaping governance and politics in Delta and Nigeria.
From traders counting every naira to families battling rising costs and uncertain times.
From football pitches to sporting successes to the major developments making the headlines all over the world.
And from the untold human stories, the struggles, victories, resilience, and hope of the everyday Nigerians.
This is the news beyond the headlines. Dott TV News are your trusted window to stories that truly matter to the people. Here, we don't just report events, we tell the human stories behind them.
Hello and welcome to Dott TV Media News. I am Priscilla Ifani. As the ongoing Nigerian Army Regular Recruit 91 intake screening exercise entered day 10 on Thursday, Delta State Government has approved a daily welfare package for shortlisted candidates. The Director General of the Delta State Bureau for Orientation and Communications, Fred Ogenesivas, said the welfare support approved by Governor Sheriff Oborewori is aimed at easing the financial burden on candidates and ensuring their comfort throughout the screening period. He disclosed that the 563 applicants from Delta State were shortlisted for the recruitment exercise, adding that over 300 candidates had so far reported, while nearly 260 were yet to arrive at the venue for screening. According to him, the screening exercise is taking place at 2 designated centers, with medical screening conducted at the Nigerian Army 63 Brigade Headquarters, Asaba, and physical screening at the Cenotaph Complex, Asaba. The astronomical rise in the cost of house rent in Asaba has remained a major concern for the residents struggling to adjust to the new normal. This is just as many families, workers, and even students say the situation is putting pressure on their finances and affecting their standard of living. Our correspondent Cynthia Adanaya spoke with some residents who decried the situation they said was becoming unbearable.
The way house rent of 18 is going up every day, I don't understand. Like, people like us that is not doing much thing is affecting us, especially when they tell that house rent is 100k. Assuming you are staying in a public compound, the official house rent is 150. Before 1 year, when you want to renew your rent, they will tell that the house rent is no longer 150, it's 200 or 300. And the house agents, they are making life so difficult to us. You can't be, nobody cannot tell you to pay house rent of 200,000. Agents will tell you to pay total package of 450 or 500,000. Why the main house rent is 200,000?
The rent is on the high side. The landlords are not smiling at all. The government did not increase whoever you are working with did not increase your salary. But yet, landlord increases rent. What will you do? In short, it's a mess.
House in Asaba, very, very cost. If they want to increase the house rent, they will told you that they want to renovate the house. And when you leave the house, they will put another person, increase the rentage. No house in Asaba here is less than 600,000-700,000. Whether you are working or you are not working, the landlord don't care to know. All they know is that money, you pay them that money. As I'm talking to you now, I want to relocate to leave Asaba.
They, however, appealed to the government to intervene in the crisis, calling for immediate action.
If the government should provide houses for people, put it at a subsidized rates, the landlord sees that nobody is coming to take his house, and there's the government house of 300, and landlord puts his house for 500, and there's nobody taking his house, and everybody's going to government's house. He has no choice but to bring it down.
If government want to help, they know what they can do to regulate this house rent matter. If government starts building houses like estates, people that people can afford, it will be better.
The State Governor Sheriff Oboyewori is celebrating his 63rd birthday today with tributes and goodwill messages pouring in from members of the State Executive Council, political leaders, and stakeholders across the state. Leading the pool of tribute is the Deputy Governor, Monday Onyeme, who described Oboyewori as a visionary leader and an astute manager of resources. In a statement he personally signed and made available to newsmen on Friday, Onyeme praised the governor's leadership style, highlighting his knack for uniting people and effectively driving the state's development agenda. Similarly, the Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly and Chairman Conference of Speakers of State Legislatures in Nigeria, Momo Timigowo, has felicitated with Governor Sheriff Oboyewori on the occasion of his 63rd birthday. In a goodwill message, Goa described Governor as the pride of Delta, whose visionary leadership, commitment to standards, and relentless drive to prosperity has reinforced confidence in accelerated development across the states. The Speaker, in a message made available to newsmen by his Chief Press Secretary Nkem Mweke, applauded Governor Oboyewori's life of service and humility, saying at 63, the celebrant remains a pillar of good governance and a driving force for the Delta dream. More tributes are pouring in for Governor Sheriff Oboyewori at 63rd, this time for members of the State Executive Council who have described the governor as a leader committed to inclusive governance while offering prayers for continued strength and wisdom.
I want, on behalf of the staff of the two ministries, wish our Governor, Right Honorable Edda Francis Oboyewori, a very happy birthday, and pray that God Almighty will continue to grant him more wisdom, good health, and of course, all the beautiful things that he desires on earth in Jesus' name. And let me also state very quickly that in the 3 years that he has held sway as the governor of Delta State, he has been able to pilot the affairs of the state to the admiration of all. He has been able to keep to the promises he made in the area of infrastructure, in ensuring that we are peaceful and live in a secure state, in ensuring that certain reforms are brought to bear in the state, and of course, in also seeing that each person is given the right opportunity, and that is without discriminating. And so it's on that note that I want to say that as Deltans, we are actually quite happy to have such a man. We wish him the best and look forward to many more beautiful years with him as our leader. Congratulations, Your Excellency, and have a wonderful birthday.
His Excellency, Right Honorable Sheriff Francis Orukwedo Oboyewori, Governor of Delta State. He is a sincere man. He's very reliable. He's one man that we all know as Deltans as a promise keeper. So his leadership style is a humble person and is a lover of Christ. What I admire about him is his service to Delta. So today being his birthday is just to continue to pray for him, for God to continue to guide his paths, give him more strength to govern the state. And I pray for good health. I pray for long life. And above all, God will continue to partner with him in his journey of life.
I feel so lucky to be associated and to work under the governor of Delta State, Right Honorable Elder Sheriff Francis Orukwedo Oboyewori. I will tell you that two things. The first one is that our governor is the most prudent financial manager I've ever met. Wonderful financial manager, is somebody that loves development. And that development, which is the second thing, he has brought it out, especially in education in Delta State. In higher education, Delta State is #1 in the country. and I'm happy to be associated with him. He's a governor that loves education. And I want to wish my governor, my boss, happy birthday. Happy birthday, governor. We wish you very well.
Well, I think so far, Obolewe's lifestyle is practical, not theoretical. He's open-minded. He's an avid believer in the progress, development of Delta State. He has shown capacity. And so as he celebrates his birthday, my wish for him is greater strength, greater wisdom, God's grace and mercy on his life, as he go on to execute the more agenda. I believe that God himself knows that his life has touched the Delta State in a manner that different from any of the past.
The administration of His Excellency has been one of a visionary leadership and transformative governance. And I wish him the very best, and I wish him long life and good health and more service to the people. We want to say we love him and we care about him. Thank you.
And from all of us at Dott Television, we say happy birthday to Governor Sheriff Oborewori. Now to Anambra State, to a developing issue where a 30-year-old woman, Chisom Chukure, who allegedly brutalized a 10-year-old boy in Awada, Obosi, in the Demili North local government area of Anambra State, has been arrested by the police. Her husband, Chukudi, was also arrested over allegations that the couple used burning plastic to inflict severe burns on the child. The victim, whose videos showing extensive injuries across his body recently went viral on social media, had sparked wide outrage. Confirming the development, the spokesperson for the Anambra State Police Command, Tochukwu Ikenga, said investigation has been intensified and assured that all those found culpable will be brought to justice. Meanwhile, the wife of the Anambra State Governor, Nonye Soludo, has visited the 10-year-old boy receiving treatment after allegedly being subjected to abuse and maltreatment by his guardian. Mrs. Soludo, accompanied by the Commissioner for Health, Afam Obidike, visited the child at the hospital following her earlier directive to the Ministry of Health to ensure he received comprehensive medical attention and adequate care. Speaking after the visit, she expressed satisfaction with the progress made so far, noting that the medical report shows the boy's condition has stabilized and that he was responding well to treatment. She described the incident as a stark reminder of the collective responsibility to protect children from abuse, neglect, and exploitation, and urged residents to promptly report cases of abuse and other emergencies. Elsewhere in Edo State, where Governor Monday Okpebolo has issued a blunt warning to criminals operating in the state, saying he will personally sign their execution warrants. Okpebolo made the claim on Thursday during a parade of suspects at the Edo State Police Command headquarters in Benin City, where he also rewarded officers who arrested a suspected link to Sunday's kidnapping at the vegetable market. Governor Okpebolo acted swiftly after the Sunday incident, immediately directing the Commissioner of Police to ensure the perpetrators were caught and brought to justice. One suspect was arrested while the other was neutralized during the operation, and 2 others remain at large. Still ahead on the media news, NDC disowns candidate list circulating on social media, exempts Obi Kwankwaso from party's anti-defection oath, plus foreign and sports stories coming up after this time out. Please stay with us.
In the heart of Asaba, where the street tells the stories every single day.
From the corridors of powers to the decisions shaping governance and politics in Delta and Nigeria.
From traders counting every naira to families battling rising costs and uncertain times.
From football pitches to sporting successes to the major developments making the headlines all over the world.
and from the untold human stories, the struggles, victories, resilience, and hope of the everyday Nigerians.
This is the news beyond the headlines. Dot TV News are your trusted window to stories that truly matter to the people. Here, we don't just report events, we tell the human stories behind them.
Now to the rest of our stories. The Nigerian Democratic Congress has distanced itself from a list of purported candidates for elections in Imo, Abia, and Anambra states currently circulating on social media, describing it as fake and unauthorized. In a statement issued by its National Secretary Ikenna Enekwezu, the party urged members and the public to disregard the list, insisting that they did not originate from the party's national headquarters. The NDC stated that it had already submitted the authentic list of candidates who would fly the party's flag in the affected states to the Independent National Electoral Commission through the channels prescribed by the Electoral Act. Enekwezu alleged that the documents were being circulated by mischief makers seeking to create confusion and distract the party from its activities. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Democratic Congress has excluded its presidential candidate Peter Obi and his running mate Rabiu Kwankwaso from a newly introduced party requirement mandating candidates to sign an anti-defection oath. The party's national secretary Ikenna Enekwezu, who disclosed this, explained that the oath is intended to discourage elected officials from abandoning the party after election and is grounded in the NDC constitution and reflects internal rules binding on all members. While insisting that all candidates are originally required to sign the oath, he revealed that the party's leadership had made an administrative decision to exempt the presidential and vice presidential candidates from the requirement. Now in Ekiti State, where the distribution of sensitive materials from the Central Bank of Nigeria has begun ahead of the governorship election and series of senatorial and federal constituencies by-election scheduled for Saturday, 20th June 2026. Officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission were in the Central Bank office in Ado-Ekiti, certain sensitive materials to be conveyed to all the 16 local government areas across the states. The resident electoral commissioner for Ekiti State, Bumi Omoshe Indemi, said the process has been smooth, giving assurance that the materials will reach their destinations in time. The National Economic Council has approved the release of over 83 billion naira under the Anticipatory Action Trust Fund to address the recurring challenges of flooding across the country. The approval was granted at the NEC meeting by the Vice President, Kashim Setima, at the Council Chamber of the State House, Abuja, on Thursday. Addressing State House correspondents shortly after the meeting, the governor of Cross River State, Basi Otu, said a total of 166 billion naira has initially been proposed for the Anticipatory Action Trust Fund. The fund is expected to support proactive measures, including early warning systems, emergency preparedness, and other flood mitigation initiatives designed to reduce devastating effects of the seasonal flooding. In other news, bank and their customers has lost a combined 134.8 billion naira to fraud between 2020 and 2025, and that's according to the data contained in the Central Bank of Nigeria's Payment System Vision 2028 document. Documents show that attempted fraud across the banking and payments ecosystem amounted to 187.79 billion naira during the 6 years period, while actual losses stood at 184.8 billion naira. The losses were recorded across multiple payment channels, including over-the-counter transactions, automated teller machines, checks, e-commerce platforms, internet banking, and mobile banking. Others are points of sale terminals, web channels, and other electronic payment platforms, highlighting the growing challenge of safeguarding Nigeria's increasingly digital financial system. And now to the foreign scene. A new round of direct talks between the US and Iran have been postponed after Vice President J.D. Vance delayed a planned trip to Switzerland. The White House announced late on Thursday that Vance would not be traveling to the talks and said logistics had not been simple or predictable. It comes today after the US dropped its naval blockade of Iran after the two countries signed a deal aimed at ending the conflict. While the deal also said fighting should end in Lebanon, the country's health ministry said Israeli strikes has killed at least 18 people in the south overnight. And now to Lebanon, at least 18 people have been killed in southern Lebanon following a series of Israeli airstrikes overnight. The country's health ministry said while the Israeli ministry said 4 of its soldiers were also killed, the Israel Defense Force said it targeted militants and infrastructure linked to Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah. It comes today after the US and Iran signed a deal aimed at ending the conflict in the Middle East, including a permanent cessation of hostilities in Lebanon. Both Israel and Hezbollah have carried out strikes against each other since the agreement was announced, raising questions about the future of the truce between the US and Iran. Still on the international scene, sparks of black oil have rained down on parts of Moscow after a refinery was hit during the largest Ukrainian attack since the start of the full-war scale, with close to 200 drones fired towards the Russian capital. Columns of thick smoke billowed high into the sky and 17 people were wounded in the Moscow region, according to the local governor, Andrei. Residents in the southeast of the Moscow region told the BBC that a fine drizzle had left unpleasant black spots on their clothes, although Moscow authorities denied that any oil rain had been falling. For sports stories, here's Anthony Uche.
We start the sports news this hour from National Club Football, as Ikorodu City FC will take on El Kanemi Warriors in this year's final of the President's Federations Cup. The Lagos club qualified for the final through a penalty shootout, winning by 4 penalties to 2 against Nasarawa United at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, following a 1-1 draw in regulation time. El Kanemi Warriors, on the other hand, sealed their spot with a commanding 3-1 victory over Wiki Tourists at the Muhammadu Dikko Stadium in Katsina on Wednesday to book their spot at the 4th Federations Cup final. This will be Ikorodu City's first appearance at the final after suffering an agonizing defeat at the semi-final stage last season to Abakaliki United. On the other hand, El Kanemi are chasing their 4th title, having won the cup previously in 1991, 1992 and more recently in 2024. The final will take place at the Stephen Keshi International Stadium, Asaba, on the 11th of July, following a postponement to the initial dates of June the 27th. Now to the ongoing World Cup 2026. Co-host Mexico have become the first nation to book a place in the second round following a hard-fought victory over South Korea in the early hours of this morning. Luis Romo scored the only goal of the game in the tight affair after 5 minutes into the second half, pouncing on a goalkeeping error by Kim Sung-yu, and L3 held on for the victory, guaranteeing a top-place spot in Group A. Elsewhere, South Africa snatched a late equalizer to draw 1-0 with Czechia. Switzerland whitewashed 10-men Bosnia and Herzegovina by 4-1, while Canada secured their first ever World Cup win in commanding fashion, thrashing 9-man Qatar 6-0 in a game that was ultimately marred by a sickening injury to Canada's Ismail Kone. From the sports desk, Anthony Uche, Dott TV.
That's a wrap on the media news on Dott TV. Thank you for joining us. I am Priscilla Ifanye. And remember, security is everyone's business. See something, you say something. Have a good day.
In the heart of Asaba, where the street tells the stories every single day.
From the corridors of powers to the decisions shaping governance and politics in Delta and Nigeria.
From traders counting every naira to families battling rising costs and uncertain times.
From football pitches to sporting successes to the major developments making the headlines all over the world.
And from the untold human stories, the struggles, victories, resilience, and hope of the everyday Nigerians.
This is the news beyond the headlines. Dott TV News are your trusted window to stories that truly matter to the people. Here, we don't just report events, we tell the human stories behind them.
This is your station. This is